Well, what a difference a day makes here at Gulfstream Park. Pretty nice Friday. In fact, a very nice Friday afternoon. And good afternoon, everybody. As we settle in, it's Gulfstream today. Acacia Courtney, Jason Blewett alongside. We had rain, we had clouds, we had a sloppy track. On Thursday's card, not the case as we start things out about a mile east of the Atlantic Ocean, or west, I should say, and it's beautiful here at Gulfstream.
It is a beautiful day. Going to be a warm one today, but bright and sunny out this morning. You see the turf course still listed as good. We probably did need some rain. I'm sure that throughout the afternoon, keep an eye on it, but track and turf in very good condition this morning.
Yeah, rain never a bad thing as we settle in. Again, a 9-race card, standard fare for this time of the year down here at Gulfstream Park. We run 4 today on the dirt, including the first, 5 on the grass course, and of course the Rainbow Pick 6 kind of steals the headline with a carryover close to 360,000. That will be pretty much the main event from race 4 on, but you'll get things started, we hope, to a winning way in the first because you're taking on all challengers today.
I am. It's Beat the Expert day for me today, so we'll talk about that in a moment. But Jason, big weekend in general coming up. We have a couple stakes on tomorrow's card, and Monday it's Memorial Day, and we will be here racing. So don't forget to come and join us. Our first post on Monday, special race day here at Gulfstream, 1:15 p.m. and lots of great specials to take part in here.
Yeah,
as well.
We'll check out the specials. You can't go wrong with the day at the races right here at Gulfstream Park for the spring summer meet, and we'll spice up your Memorial Day 2017 with those $2 burgers, hot dogs, chips, soda, and water in the breezeway, and of course that $29, don't forget, sounds good and the price is just right, all you can eat barbecue buffet up in 10 Palms. So make your plans to join us all weekend long. 11 races Saturday, Sunday. We'll see what they draw today for Monday, but again, 2 stakes on the program tomorrow. The gals will get their chance to run in the spotlight as far as co-featured races on the Saturday card with the Musical Romance and Christmas Pass. Musical Romance, did you happen to catch her when she was running?
I did not. No, I did not. I did not get to, but looking up some of the past performances for some of the races,
Wow.
I am. I did not.
Or I'm old, I should say.
Definitely excited to see, of course, those horses. And I was actually talking to Ed Gray, one of the writers, about Christmas Past, and she was, I believe, 1982 champion mare, so it will be fun to see those races named for them.
Now he's old, of course, not as old as Ron Nicoletti, who can certainly colorize and tell us about the old Seabiscuit days up and down the East Coast. Our great Ron Nicoletti, who will join us, by the way, at around 1 p.m. for the opening prattle on today's 9-race card. Now, as far as the wagering menu today, there's a lot going on. There's also the Beat the Expert. We've, to be blunt about it, we've taken it on the chin the last few Fridays. A losing Friday for Ronnie, no surprise there. 2 weeks ago, you were up the track. Last Friday, it was me up the track. We're giving out these beautiful Beat the Expert Gulfstream polos, it seems, every week. You need to kind of stem the tide, so I'm putting my faith in you, even though that picture is ridiculous.
I'm trying to be intimidating, but, you know, as you said, we'll see. It's we've kind of been calling it the curse of the Beat the Expert day. Maybe you have a good day before, a good Thursday, or a good Saturday afterwards, but on that Friday, there's nothing like cheering for a 3-2 shot to get home, because a win is a win on Beat the Expert day, so I'll try with the 9 races today. You have just 56 minutes to get your picks in before first post time, so make sure you go and do that on our Facebook page. And as you said, you can get one of those polos. It's a lot of fun. It's you have a rooting interest in each of the races too, so head on over and play.
Yeah, all about having a good time. That's the beauty of horse racing, and hope you do get involved. It's free to play once again. Now, speaking of the first race, which is your cutoff time for Friday's Beat the Expert, it is also the opening leg of the 50-cent early pick 5, an approximate post, first post that is, at Gulfstream Park of about 1:15 p.m. And that early pick 5 will segue into a carryover. And this was a good year, race number 2. Good old 1945. Well, that's what's up for grabs with that dollar rolling super high 5.
Yes, it is. Of course, that's any race with 7 or more runners. So that starts in the second today. And then you mentioned that Rainbow 6 carryover, Jason. It is building. It was all covered in the last race yesterday. So $356,000 plus, just a 20-cent wager. And of course, we kept things off with the pick 5.
Yep, no doubt. Late pick 5 on the program. Race number 5. That's the real crossroads. It's the end of the early 5, the start of the late 5, and of course, leg number B in that $360,000 Rainbow 6. A good Friday afternoon, everybody. Glad you're with us as we turn our attention to the first race. We are fast and good, which is very good. In fact, we get 5 in today on the Gulfstream Park turf. That doesn't include the opener, which will start the program, and of course, getting back to that early pick 5. Here is a, for me anyway, this seems to be one of the pricier plays I've put up for $36. My feeling is, and kind of going into this blind, the 4th race, which is my single, the number 2 Cape Town Lady, that is our opening 2-year-old filly maiden special weight on the turf this spring and summer meet down at Gulfstream Park. I'm going to just blindly single the 2 Cape Town Lady for the obvious reasons. If we get to her and she wins, hopefully we'll get a free ride and we can turn whatever her win price will be. I would imagine, unless there's a good story or two in the race, she'll be favored just because, and maybe we can get a decent price on the number 2 Cape Town Lady in race number 4. That is, yeah, Cape Town Lady. I feel like Todd Pletcher had a Cape Town Lady not too long ago, maybe right around the turn of the century. A New York-bred filly by Cape Town. I'm going to have to look that up. But anyway, let's get into the first Acacia as we start the card with a field of 6 in this $50,000 to $40,000 3-year-old maiden claimer. We go with a half a dozen. Aberdeen Way, I would say the horse to beat way early on. The public agrees with you at 8 to 5.
And I hope that it's not that short a price as we get to post time, because that is a very short price to take for this horse. Now, we were talking about this a little bit before we came on air. Considering the field that he faced last time, I did think he ran pretty strongly. And I was looking back at my notes prior to the race. He was very high strung in the saddling area beforehand. So when putting those pick 5 to take tickets together, that's something I'm going to be looking at in the paddock for sure to see how he's acting today. Maybe now he has a race under his belt, second time out, a sharp work locally over the main track as well too.
Yeah, I like this horse. I think he's going to run very well, and clearly I think appropriately spotted second time out for Jenna Antonucci, and you'll of course be our eyes and ears in the paddock and walking ring. Let's hope he's got his head on straight today and he improves just mentally off that first start in his second lifetime start today. Now for me, it's a Union Rags exacta box in the first, the old 3-4, and you're not a fan of the 3 Dixie Mambo. Now 2 turf races to date, a gazillion to 1 in both races, and did not lift a hoof. Today could be a different ball game, though, and that's mainly because of the respect that I have for veteran trainer Angel Penna Jr., who went 2 for 2 here on Sunday, and one of those victories happened to be for Amy Tarrant's Hardacre Farm. He'll run this horse for Hardacre Farm in the first race, and although this horse ran twice on the turf, I do think the dirt pedigree is there, being by a Belmont winner in Union Rags. And do note, the second dam is Chiposa Springs, I should say, and she was a multiple grade 1 winner for a few million. So I'm taking Dixie Mambo to keep it going for Angel Penna as the blinkers go on in race 1.
It certainly could be, and the barn's been going well lately as 2 in one of the stakes tomorrow in the Musical Romance. Blinkers on, as you said. Now the dam's only win was on the dirt. I took a wait and see approach. Maybe the surface switch is going to help, but those first 2 races, for lack of a better word, were just bad.
They were bad. I think a different ball game today, though. First time Penna, I am betting, I can tell you that now, without hesitation, the 3 Dixie Mambo. Let's get on to the second. We turf in 5 today, and our opening grass race goes at a 2-turn mile, field of 7 with this 3-year-old filly, $50,000 to $40,000 maiden claimers. The 3-year-olds take center stage early on with the first race and the second race today. And as far as race number 2, Mark Cassie and his South Florida operation here in late May. Major players on today's card. They potentially have 3 favorites, and one of them happens to be the one, Biandetti's Choice, and you could take us through back on March 23rd, where this horse had kind of a cakewalk of a trip as the controlling speed was quickly engulfed at this point on the far turn.
Certainly was. She actually got a little early speed. It looked like there were a couple other horses that did seem to, as you say, got the lead early. Now, I want to freeze right there because I want to highlight this number 6. That's a first-time starter named Passing Moments, and I think that was the big reason for the change in the pace setup. Made a mid-race move, and now we'll just let it roll. The number 1 that day, Biandetti's Choice, is along the rail. You can see in the green cap right there. Held on. Now, there's a slight little bobble coming up, and I think, honestly, it might have been because of the tracks. You can see it right there. I don't know if, I don't think that the number 5 actually drifted into her. Might have been a little bit of greenness as well. But all in all, considering that early pace pace change, I did think it was a good performance. Now, quickly, I wanted to mention that I did look up some stats for the barn. Excellent outfit, as you said, but on the turf, after a 61 to 180 day layoff and taking this kind of class drop to the maiden claiming, is just 3 for 19 and a negative ROI of just 46 cents. So pluses and minuses with this horse.
Pros and cons for sure. A very good nugget with that stat. That could be very telling. We'll see when the dust settles on the grass. I took the one being Deddy's Choice, thinking from the inside post she would likely either get the lead or get outside and track the number 8 Gray Nicole. And I do think she's got kind of race flow in her favor. Now there is another drop down, first time maiden claiming in the race, maiden claiming move that is, and that happens to be the 4 Untruthful Sonnet for Armando de la Cerda in Midwest Thoroughbreds. And this is where leading rider Tyler Gaffalione winds up.
Yes, he does. And this filly, she's been a little bit green, certainly, in her first couple of races. She was pretty rank in her debut, actually. And last time out, she was actually wide into the first turn. You can't see that in the short comments. So she's had a couple sneaky troubled trips. So drop down in here, Tyler aboard. I'm hoping that this will be the day for this one because I think I've picked her the last 2 times.
Oh, you have. And she's been bet. They've kind of liked her a little bit against better fields and special weight company. Tyler, of course, coming out of another multiple win Thursday afternoon, picking up bookends on the program for trainer Angel Rodriguez and owner Frank Carl Calabrese. I think Tyler at 57 wins for this summer meet, and we'll see what he does in race number 2. Let's get on to the third Acacia. We're out on the main track. 1 mile, they'll break way down the backstretch out of that chute. Field of 8 for this 3-and-up filly mare, 2 lifetimes, 6250 claiming race. And speaking of Midwest Thoroughbreds and trainer Armando de la Cerda, they are the last out owner and trainer of the number 2, Ecliptical My Way, who's the horse to beat in this race. And to be fair, this filly by back talk with her early speed, she is very much the nucleus of race number 3. The more I look at her, though, and I clearly think she's a bit more vulnerable than you. I got a bad feeling about her at a short price. I did not like her last race dropping in for 62.50. One we'll look at May 7th. Take us through.
And you're right. We'll show that race. You can see she's the number 3, and we'll let it roll from there. And it was pretty fast fractions too. You can see 22 and 4, 46.17, and she is again the number 3 along the rail. The top 2 kind of duking it out. Again, that was 62.50 claiming competition, and she was game. Now she did let the outside horse in motions first just beat her at the wire. So it's fair that you have some reservations about her. She's now in a new barn. She's with Kathy Mungen now, and she goes from a very high percentage barn and a great outfit in Armando de la Cerda. What I do think, and you kind of alluded to this, I think from the inside post as well, she'll be the controlling speed and hopefully won't end up in that duel down the stretch again.
Now, she may have to deal with the 8 I'm Thirsty, who in a way is clearly the major key, I think, early on. If the I'm Thirsty, who's a stretch out with a good speed rider in J.A. Batista, if she goes after her, I think we might get a softened up Ecliptical My Way, who I just didn't even like 3-back that she was trained by Angel Rodriguez and picked up for 12.5, and it seemed like Armando could not wait to get rid of her for the bottom claiming price. And lo and behold, Armando runs against one of his old fillies in the race as he sends out the 5, Holy Giacomo. She's a drop down. To me, she makes a little more sense at a shortish kind of price, and this is where Tyler Gaffalione winds up. Both he and Matt Musiker, his agent, doing a great job, and I'm going to follow Tyler G here with the 5, Holy Giacomo. You clearly agree as far as that one being the main danger, putting him second.
It certainly is, and now she did have her last win at Hawthorne in the fall, or last couple of races. They even tried the turf. It looks like all of these fillies in these races, they all have their questions. They're trying to find a right spot where they can win, maybe even the for sale sign out a bit.
All right, $356,000 and counting. That's Friday's Rainbow 6, Acacia's ticket, plenty more in Gulfstream today on the other side of this quick timeout.
At ExpressBet, we celebrate the champions that make horse racing great. That's why we provide more ways to bet from more places than ever. We've built an entire family of brands to give players more of the rewards they deserve, give bettors the information they need to win, and provide a community for horse bettors. Because the best way to support the champions of horse racing is to champion horse racing. ExpressBet, we are racing.
And we welcome you back here on Gulfstream today. A lovely Friday afternoon in Hallandale Beach. It is Jason and Acacia joining you outside the village, outside the walking ring, and it's all good. We're fast and good today at Gulfstream Park. Appropriately said by Acacia at the top of the show, there were no singles alive yesterday in the Rainbow Six, and that leads us to the Friday sequence for 356,000 plus. And how much? 43.20 again? Are we doing the Nicoletti magic?
I'm going to go a little bit more today because we have that great carryover. So 57.60 for me. If you want to pare things down, you can find a single. There are a couple of races that I use, 2 horses, 3 races in fact. If you have a strong opinion, Ed could potentially single one of those. I was considering either Lady Master in the 5th or trying to single Awesome Dame in the 7th. So those were the kind of horses I was leaning towards, but decided to use some coverage. I used 3 to start things off. I'm in agreement with you with Cape Town Lady being the one to beat a first-time starter in the 2-year-old races, using a couple others as well. So 3, 2, 2, 2, 4, 357.60.
All right, and as far as we don't want to bore you here, I mean, just going on and on and on about pedigrees and connections, seeing the board obviously, and you getting a look at these fillies in the paddock stalls, I think that'll certainly go a lot further than just talking about this race ad infinitum now when you don't know who's going to be bet. Now, Patrick B. and Cohn scratched at 3, Kathy's Clown. She was the other Malibu Moon filly in the race. Mark Cassie goes it alone as far as the Malibu Moon presence with Cape Town Lady, who sold for a lot, is a half to Pants on Fire, was a hard-hitting and consistent miler on the dirt who banked about $1.6 million. Tell us about the 5 Menage. I know you spoke with trainer Stanley Gold here yesterday.
Not yesterday. Last time he actually had a runner in, and he didn't say particularly about this horse, but he did say he had a couple that he was anxious to get on the turf. And the big reason that I used this filly in second is because looking back at my notes from the last time I saw her, I had written a note saying that I thought she would prefer the turf. So now she's in on the turf, and I said, well, I have to stick with my guts and use her. She also does get Miguel Vasquez in the saddle, had a great day yesterday, and gets Lasix for the first time. Now, the dam was a multiple stakes winner, 0 for 4 on the grass, but a little bit on the bottom side, as you were saying, Adcat on the bottom side as far as turf goes, and just physically looked like she would handle the grass better.
All right, he was a good New York bred turf horse many moons ago, the mighty Adcat, dam sire there in race number 4. On to the 5th here. We'll shorten things up. We'll stay on the turf, in fact, and we'll stay with a quickie here down the backside. 5 furlongs of distance, 3 and up. Filly and Mare, $10,000 claimers. Another kind of major scratch on the card today. We lost the B and Cone 2-year-old filly in the 4th, and a major player in the 5, So Royal, who with her out, I actually scratch into the 1 Keeker in this race, who's been in good form, may pull an okay trip. And to be honest, I thought, as I continue to learn the horse population and the company lines, I think she's coming out of an okay 12-5 turf sprint, won by a horse who was taking a monster precipitous drop that day at $2.40 in Goodbye Sorrow. I think Keeker works out a pretty good trip. Tell us about the 7 Lady Master, who does have Gilberto Zerpa off the claim. We'll show you some numbers. He does pretty well in situations like this.
Yes, he does indeed. And this horse, she's a 4-time turf winner already, has some speed to her already, and you can see those numbers, more than 30%, more than half of the time in the money. So this is the one that I did land on, has some tactical speed and some back class.
Who else? Who else in here?
Well, I respect Keeker for sure. She's a really good-looking mare, and I think I've just picked her in the last couple of times, and she hasn't been able to win, though I agree she comes out of good races. But I was intrigued on the outside by the 8, Persuade Me Lady, who does go back to the turf as well. Her turf race 2 back was not pretty, but it was against much tougher at the fairgrounds, and she does have a sibling that won on turf. Some pretty strong numbers for the barn.
And I'm going to use her actually in the late pick 5, which gets underway in the 5th. We went 1, 3, 7, and 8 to hopefully close out a winning early 5 and using the same 4. It's just that kind of race in the 5th where I want coverage. Getting back to trainer Mark Cassie, who could be sitting on a big Friday today at Gulfstream Park. He sends out the 2 driving force. I think she makes the point in the 6th with Tyler G and never looks back. We'll use 3 in the 7th. We'll use 3 in the 8th, including a long shot, who I have my eye on in the 5 stretch 4. And to wrap things up, I think the strongest, at least in my humble opinion, on today's card as far as a single goes, the number 7, Legacy Azteca, who's coming in off 2 wins and is just aggressively spotted by an outfit who just jams that horse back in for 35,000. So that'll do it for the first 5. We can turn our attention now, Acacia, to Friday's late pick 4, race number 6, a 6.5 furlong field of 8 in this 3-year-old filly, Florida bred, $25,000 maiden claimer. We lost the number 4, Selfie Day. And as far as a last out effort, I think a good one in the slot for the 2 driving force. Does she play out as the speed of the speed over Sassy Slew and perhaps the 8, Autocinda?
She certainly could. I think Sassy Slew has actually been beaten a couple times now without excuse. She has the rail. Be curious to see if she sends. I imagine she probably will. But driving force, slop last time. She actually had her first 2 races on the turf, but the dam was grade 3 place, and both of her wins were sprinting on the dirt. So we'll see how she handles that fast main track today.
All right, she's got Sassy Slew to her inside. Now, she's already been beyond 5 and 5.5 furlongs. She ran, I think, relatively speaking, well last time, going 7. That race, though, I just didn't like it. I thought Helen Virginia would win. She worked hard, though, to put those horses away. And even though she ran, again, at face value okay, 6.5 for her with that inside post, and driving force as the one who's going to be on the point most likely. I think the hurdles are significant. Jenna Antonucci will give her a quick pop here with Autocinda, who seems well meant to me dropping down.
Dropping down, I think, will be the key. Debuted her best race actually was behind Wildcat Kate in the slop in her debut. So she does have to prove herself here, but her only run on a fast main track was against much, much tougher.
All right, down to the final 3, race number 7, and there's plenty of turf late in the card here at Gulfstream Park. These are 3-and-up filly mare, $16,000 claimers. They meet at a 2-turn mile. It's a very tricky race, and in my opinion, the kind of race where you just got to get through if you're playing the multis, and you're going to want some coverage. None of these horses, for the most part, are in great form or consistently good form. Off that, tell us about the number 2, Awesome Dame, who I like the fact that she's a new face, because she hasn't run this cheaply. In fact, I don't think she's run in a claiming race before. Some lackluster numbers, and we're big fans of trainer Ralph Nix.
Of course.
First-time turf. Not a good move for the barn.
No, it's not. But I think the biggest key in here, as you said, is that she's just coming out of stronger company. She even has faced stakes company at OBS and others. And I think now, first time on the turf, it's a guess for sure. Awesome, of course. Not bad on the turf, certainly. Does have a sibling that won on the turf as well, and has some tactical speed that she showed a bit earlier on in her career. She did win at Special Weight Company at Gulfstream back in 2015. Obviously, West Point Thoroughbreds had high hopes for her. Now she'll try the turf after not faring well in the slop last time. I just really think it's a class thing.
It is a major drop, and that's probably the biggest reason, in fact it is, that I put her in the try, despite the fact first-time turf sprinter out the barn, just 2 for their last 39 for 5%. At least you get Tyler Gaffleone. When you need that extra length in a tight race, you're likely getting it from him. Now the 5, Kiss Kiss Tell Tell, is in from Tampa. She's returning to Gulfstream Park. We're happy to have her and trainer Chad Stewart here, who admittedly I'm not too familiar with, but I was happy to see, and we'll show you some numbers here, over the last 60 months with Chad Stewart. I think he's placed his horses properly, and his Tampa shippers have acclimated and have represented themselves pretty well at Gulfstream, batting 17% in the W column, hitting the board in close to 50% of the time. And this horse, I think, as far as just matching up with who she's facing today, comes out of some respectable 2 lifetime claimers, big fields at Tampa Bay Downs.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you showed that stat, because that's what I was going to say. I think that sometimes you see horses shipping in from other places. Lately, we've seen a lot from Fairgrounds or Tampa, and sometimes they might need to take a little bit of a drop in class. This one does make a lateral move. Her only start at Gulfstream was against much, much tougher. And of course, it's been a long time between drinks. December 2015, her last race, or last win, excuse me. But talking about recency, I did have some interest in the 7 Bar Libre, and I wanted to backtrack to her last race, which was actually her maiden win. So she's facing winners for the first time, but I thought she was ultra game, and she's the number 3 that day, and we'll just let it roll from there. But she sat back a bit, and she went off cover and went 3 wide, and even though physically she was smaller than some of the other horses that she was facing, again, just thought she was ultra game, and at a price might be a player and a new shooter here.
Now she'll try to work out a trip towards the outside. What is this, a 9-horse field? She's got post number 7 going this 1-mile distance, so they do have a longer run into the clubhouse turn. And by the way, that horse to her inside, Don't Talk Back, 3-5 favorite in that race back on May 7th. So maybe a tip of the hand here with the 7 Bar Libre, that she's heading in the right direction for trainer Angel Quiroz. I certainly think win, lose, or draw, she's properly spotted first time against winners. Let's move on to race number 8, Acacias. We wrap up things on the turf this afternoon. The 8th race here today at Gulfstream Park will go at around 5 p.m. or so, and it's a 2-turn mile, field of 9, in this 3 and up $16,000 claiming race. We lost the 2 over limit. You could scratch the 9 ABG Mostro, and that leaves us again with that aforementioned field of 9 and a spot where, you know what, I'm almost looking at the 5 stretch 4, who's got a good aggressive speed rider on his back, and Jay Batista as a horse who's only run twice. He would not be the first. He probably won't be the last horse to not run well on that Mountaineer turf course. He's coming into this one fresh for trainer Alex Rendon, and found a stat with Alex just last 5 years off a trainer change. He's 6 for 29 for 21%, positive ROI of $2.17. They've got him to catch. I'm going to try to shake things up here with stretch 4, who I hope leads all the way down the stretch.
Certainly could be, and I hope he does look like he could be one of the main speed players. I think especially from the outside, Dream Shot will show some speed from that outside post, trying to get some early zip, and Market Strength is usually forwardly placed, especially from the rail, but I hope that there's a little bit of speed, because the horse I like is actually a bit of a closer, and we'll go back and show the last win, the last race for 2nd Street, the number 4 in here. Now first off the claim for Elizabeth Dobbles. You can see he's the number 2 that day. Now, just want to let it roll from there and just highlight how he starts moving in the blue Godolphin colors. He was claimed off trainer Tom Albertrani. He's very wide. He had a bit of a long shot pace setter, and now we're just going to freeze it right there. There he is. He is so wide in the stretch, and now we'll just let it roll again. And again, that pace setter got loose on the lead out front there. And he started to move, and now even here, you can see him again, the number 2 in the blue colors. It looks like he's not even going to get there in time. He's still trying, and he does make it. And just thinking, Elizabeth Dobble, she does an excellent job. Her horses look great physically. They usually even have glitter on their back, well turned out. So that's going to be my pick in here.
All right, we'll see. I thought the Bug Boy on the runner-up moved a little too soon on the turn there, and that helped 2nd Street at crunch time. But again, I've really gained quick respect for Elizabeth Dobble. She does a very good job of batting above 25% on the year, and no doubt you've talked me into including 2nd Street on the late pick 5 today. Market Strength, I would say, is the horse to beat here, just with the connections and the inside post. But keep in mind, this is a horse who was claimed off Chad Brown last July, opening weekend at Saratoga, and has not won a race since for Midwest.
No, he hasn't, and of course he's still in a good outfit, as you said, with Armando de la Cerda and Midwest Thoroughbreds. Just kind of been knocking on the door and hasn't quite been able to get there. I want to mention to the outside quickly, I hate the post, but the 10 Cape Dynasty for Mark Cassie. Nice win off about a 7-month layoff last time. He comes back as a gelding now.
Yeah, he's a dangerous runner in here with Jorge Ruiz in that second to last post as we come up on our last race. We'll finish off the big Rainbow Pick 6 carryover. We'll see what that pool is when they spring the latch in the 4th, and it all comes to a close in the nightcap. A 3 and up $30,000 to $25,000 claimer. It's nice ending things on a beautiful day with the dirt race here so often, and it's not a bad thing. We end things on the turf. It's nice switching it up every now and then, and you've got plenty of form to sink your teeth into in this race, including, of course, the 7 Legacy Azteca, who you think is very vulnerable. You're a big fan of the 2 Flemish Cap, and you can tell us why as we, well, backtrack to May 4th, just a couple weeks ago.
Yes, and Flemish Cap just missed last time out. This was back on May 4th. He's the number 1 that day. You can see him in the blue colors and the white blaze. And we'll let it roll from there now. And he starts moving right there up along the rail, and it almost looked like he was out of it. It looked like he was done at this point. And see, it looks like the top 2 are really, I would just want to freeze it right there, because this is where you have these top 2 horses in front of him there. Again, looking like he's not going to get there, and he is right here. Now he's going to re-break, and we'll let it go from there. And he starts making a really big move. He's not able to catch Wild Good, who was a short price that day.
I thought he caught him, though. Like, watch this photo here. I thought he got
now
up.
we'll get there. It really looked like he got there. I thought it was a huge performance from that horse, and that's why I put him on top.
All right, we'll see how much pace he gets. That, of course, might be the operative word and maybe the biggest factor in here, because the 7 Legacy Azteca, who was hot to the touch for drawing away, and Saffie Joseph Jr. and Tyler G. And just jam him back in for the 30K. He'll be favored. He's lone speed. I think he's the best horse. You, however, what don't you like about Legacy? Too obvious here? Over bet?
I don't know. I always have my questions about him. And I'll give him this. He won very impressively in his last 2 races. I used him on my Rainbow 6 ticket. I think you have to. But he pulled away really impressively 2 starts back. Visually, I thought that was more impressive than the last one. I think there's some speed from Silent Drifter as well. Now going to be on a fast main track. I just kind of wonder when the luck is going to run out for Legacy Azteca.
All right, I hope it's not today. He's my strongest single in today's program and over at GulfstreamPark.com, which we invite you to get involved with Beat the Expert. Acacia's up.
Ready.
1:15 or thereabouts. Post time of the first is your cutoff time. And our cutoff time, well, it is here. That means Pete Aiello, the man upstairs, is coming up shortly with Gulfstream Park's Scratches and Changes.